God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 21 of Your Journey Is Not Over. My name is Tanya Pearson Randolph. This is my own personal journey, and the expressions and opinions are of my own. I own all the rights to my personal journey, and to Your Journey Is Not Over. Neither are to be used, copied, nor edited in any way without my consent. Now, jumping back into reflecting and the things that I've recently learned about myself, my journey. Learning about ourselves is never ending, as in life. When you grow up like I did, well, sadly, in which I've learned, so many did, so many have, and so many are, and with similar journeys to mine too. Going through life thinking you must be the only one. Well, that's not so. Millions have suffered and do suffer from trauma every single day. Hey, we only know what we're taught, right? What we see, what we think must be normal. So many repeat those very same cycles too. Again, because it must be normal, which means everything keeps going, generation after generation, until someone takes a stand and goes against the grain. You know, what's considered normal to everyone in the family and shatters those dysfunctional, destructive cycles. Accepts that everything that they've seen and was taught is wrong in so many ways. It takes a lot of work, a lot of self reflection, a lot of rewiring your brain, and a lot of healing, and actively being aware, consciously aware enough to not fall into those same patterns, those same cycles. I gratefully had my big brother always playing my Jiminy Cricket. I always called him that too. He was my conscience, my guide, my reminder always. He saved me more than he'll ever know. I will share this before I get back on track to my reflecting on my walk on the beach that day. My brother was my biggest critic, always, but he was also quietly my biggest cheerleader. He didn't give me a lot of compliments or pats on the back. That wasn't his nature, to stroke my ego. He had a job to do, and, well, let's just say he took it personal too. I see where I get that from completely now. His job was to be tough on me and to set me straight and to keep me on the straight and narrow. He took that job so serious that he took leaves from the service just to come home, just to put me in check. Most of the time, he could manage it on the telephone just by saying, "Don't make me come home, Tanya." Those words alone would put the fear of God in me. Let's put it this way. He meant what he said, and he always said what he meant. Well, let's fast forward. We had been estranged. He, who was so strict on me, so dead set on me too, not falling into the same cycles, not being anything like our mother. Instead, he fell into those cycles, and with that, brought distance. I didn't allow chaos, drama, fighting, all the drinking, drugs around me nor my kids. So I had no choice but to distance myself. Protect my world I had managed to build, to create away from all the dysfunction and the destruction. Well, a mutual friend of ours later told me that they were talking about me, and he told her. One thing I can say about my sister is she's a damn good mother. I don't know how, because we sure didn't have a good mother. Just being told about their conversation in that sentence alone, well, it made me cry. But it also let me know all his hard work, the lectures, the criticism, the judgment, the parenting me, the teaching me, the being hard on me, well, it did pay off. I did exactly what he always wanted me to do. I broke cycles. I broke generational cycles. I broke generational curses. Now back to my walk on the beach. Again, never realizing that history does repeat itself. At least with me, it does. When you live your whole life in survival mode, like I did, you don't take time to reflect back, nor even realize what you survived. Oh no. You're resting in between battles and you're ready for the next battle. You're geared up for it because you know it's coming. You might not know what or when or even who, but you stay ready, prepared, and quick on your feet. That's probably how I acquired that gift. Again, you stay prepared for anything. So the knowledge does not come until you're on your healing journey. And slowly, things do get revealed to you, things that you never even connected before. Only now am I starting to understand when my mental health team and my spiritual advisors refer to my traumas as massive. Survival mode protected me from absorbing all the massive traumas I experienced. And I still have so much more to share. There's still so much more to come, too. But God protected me, only God. Like I said, meeting my real dad twice, that's traumatic, especially the Twilight Zone trip to Hawaii. Anybody who has had to do this even once can relate to the emotions, the confusion, the being the outsider to this whole brand new family, too. The one that they all talk about, dissect, try and find every flaw possible, pick apart completely as if the child did something wrong. Not the adult that helped create that child. No, never. The child is put on display and again picked apart, judged, accepted by some and not accepted by others. Like I said, I endured exactly that twice. Almost being sent to jail for absolutely nothing. I was innocent both times, and both times by people that I loved. Talk about betrayal on the worst level possible, too. My mom, well, she was predictable completely. She would have sent her own mother to jail over $1. Pure greed. But my ex husband, I sure didn't see that coming. Seeing that I had our kids and he wasn't exercising his visitations at all, I call it his 10-year vacation after our divorce. He abandoned ship completely and lived his best life. He left me strapped with the entire responsibility of 2 children, and he walked off. Again, lived his best life. He had very little to do with our kids. Would see our kids out without me at the fair, across the street from where he lived even. He wouldn't acknowledge our nor speak to our kids. How one can go from a completely plugged in dad to just nothing, I will never understand it. I can't even wrap my head around it. But that's between him and God, like so many other things. One must answer one day for every single thing. But the night before court, by the way, after our divorce, I never initiated not one time us going to court. It was always him taking me. I know, unheard of. That's exactly what the judge finally said too, after several court appearances. The judge got tired of it. By the way, he never accomplished anything. Every single time he took me, it always worked in my favor. So much so that he left the courtroom bawling like a baby a couple times, literally. And it never failed. I would always get served my court papers on October 3rd or December 7th every single year. Just a double whammy. Very calculating, very premeditative to make sure that he hurt me more. October 3rd is my grandma's birthday. It's a hard day for me. And December 7th is the day that she died, an even harder day for me. So I guess he thought he would just make it that much harder on me. It takes a cold hearted individual to be that calculating, and it was confusing to the judge completely. Because twice, on 2 different court appearances too, he was on the stand and he stated under oath, he never worried about our children with me. I'm a good mother. Well, the court appearances where I was accused of stealing a check from the mail, my second rodeo with this, and knowing what I know now, both of them lying on me, well, that's huge, and it could have gotten me into federal trouble. Thank God above for that police officer who took the time to read all those printouts that my mom so calculating quietly got and tried to use to put me in jail. My name was on those support checks as well as hers. And then years later, thank God above, that judge, he took the time to see that there was no way that check that I was accused of stealing, again from the mail, could have went through the mail. God had me both times and used, as he does everyone, that police officer and that judge as my saving grace to make sure justice prevailed and that the truth came out. But the night before that court appearance, it was traumatic. I received a phone call from my former father in law, calling me every name in the book, too, and telling me my thieving ass better be prepared to go to jail the next day. I even asked him, what about my kids? This man's grandkids, mind you. I was told nobody gives a shit about your kids. Not my problem, he said. Actually, I still have the tape where I recorded this horrible conversation. Looking back now, my ex-husband must have been a convincing liar to have so many people convinced that I stole that check from the mail. As I always say, the truth always prevails. Thank God above. The traumatic part is I had to prepare my kids. Anything was possible. Spending their entire lives sheltering them, trying to do everything not just right, but damn near as perfect as I could. Being the mother I never had. I call it hyper-vigilant, hyper-focused on my parenting. And while that divorce and the aftermath, the destruction that he brought about, it traumatized and it destroyed their worlds and everything that he and I had as parents built, done for 16 years. Again, I had to prepare my kids, make sure my oldest daughter had my bank card, my keys, my important documents, and mostly to ensure that she looked out for. She took care of her 12-year-old sister. All this in preparation for going to jail over something I didn't even do. I can't begin to tell you the fear that I felt that night and the fear my kids must have felt. I was all that they had at the time. It was a lot of unnecessary trauma, but it goes to show greedy people will cross whatever lines. It doesn't matter. They'll hurt whoever, traumatize, lie, steal, cheat, take people's freedom even when it comes to money. Again, God was right there both times and stopped the demons and the cockroaches in their tracks. God has saved me in so many ways and so many times. Without God, I would have never made it a fourth of my journey, let alone gotten through what I now call repeats. History repeating itself. The most painful repeat was exactly 1 week before my dark night of the soul. It was March 28th, 2024, and I had to make a painful decision on do I correct things or do I leave it like it was? Again, painful. There was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of tossing and turning, debating on what to do, and with no one to look to help me. This decision could only be made by me alone. And yes, traumatic, and most likely was the last push on my soul. I couldn't take no more. After 4 deaths in 5 months, greedy people, vultures everywhere, demons and cockroaches coming out of the woodwork and at me in every form or fashion. This all started the day after my husband died, too. Well, 7 months to the very day, I had to make the decision to make sure things were corrected, no matter how painful. It will always be one of the most excruciating times that history had to repeat itself on my journey. I do not own the rights to the things that I'm about to share. I always thought it was over the top that Jesus would leave 99 sheep just to find one that was lost. But then one day, he came looking for me. You think you're humble? Wait until God instructs you to serve someone who has hurt you, bless someone who has betrayed you, and minister to the very people who have salted your name. Are you humble enough? That's Luke 6, verse 27 and 28. The less you resist who you are, the less you reach for who others want you to be. This one's inspired by Psalms 91, verse 11. There are moments you don't even see, but God stepped in and kept you safe. That wasn't luck, that was God. I have a religion, it's called love. I have a church, it's called earth. I have a scripture, it's called heart. And I have a prayer, it's called compassion. Once you awaken spiritually, you then become aware that everything is energy. And it's easier to recognize demonic energy. It makes it so much easier to navigate your journey. Remember, it's never personal, it's all spiritual, lifetime after lifetime, too. So please don't take anything personal. I don't. This concludes my podcast for today. Please join me Thursday, listen in, and always remember your journey is not over. God bless.
God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been